Hello friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Lynn and today I'm going to make a double interactive card featuring the Hero Arts Spooky Smiles collection. So I've got the Big Mouth Jack-o'-lantern die set, and to make the slider aspect of it, I'm using the Big Mouth slider die set, which is separate from this collection. And I've die cut that 3 times. Once out of white cardstock, once out of black cardstock, and once out of foam. And from my foam, it's just my low profile foam, but I did double it up. Now here what I'm doing is positioning that slider mechanism on my A2 card base, and out of black cardstock I'm going to cut out this opening. That's another die that's in the Big Mouth slider die set. So that die set, the Big Mouth slider, that's just the mechanism die set. You can then have all of these fun little characters, and this season we've got Spooky Smiles, which features jack-o'-lantern. That's what I'm crafting with today. And then there's a Big Mouth vampire and a Big Mouth cat as well. So once we have that section cut out, I'm going to start to create my shaker mechanism. So this is the frame that I cut out of foam, and it's double thickness foam, but really it's just like regular thickness foam. I say double only because I doubled up on my low profile foam, so combined this is probably only maybe about 3 millimeters thick. And I've just got, actually this is just packaging from from like a stamp set or maybe an ephemera pack. And what I've done is I've got some double-sided dry adhesive on my foam. I'm just going to peel that back, but just that bottom portion, that's where I want my shaker to be. So I'm going to adhere my clear acetate to that bottom portion, and that bottom portion, that's where the mouth will be. And so the fun aspect of this slider mechanism is you can kind of make the mouth open and close. Now if you're making a shaker, you have to make sure that your shaker well is completely closed off. So I'm reattaching some foam to the top and bottom, and quite frankly you don't really the piece at the top, it doesn't have to actually be as open as it is. I'm actually later gonna even add some more foam to the top section, but if you're making a regular slider, you don't need to do this step. But because I don't want any of my shaker bits to fall out, I've got to completely enclose this lower rectangle here. Okay, so once I've got that, then I want to kind of position things a little bit so that I know when the lower portion of the mouth, like when the mouth is open, this orange piece will be all the way at the bottom where I've got it now. And I kind of want to dry fit everything so that I can sort of preview what will be visible, and basically what I'm going for is just giving myself some pencil marks so that I know where I can safely stamp, because I want to put my sentiment on the card base itself, which is what I'm stamping onto now. And that way when you slide the mouth open, it reveals the sentiment. And so I want to make sure that I have everything positioned just right so that you can actually see the sentiment once that's open. Now, the stamp set, this is Bite Night stamp, and there is a coordinating die set that goes with it, but and it might be actually easier to stamp it separately, die cut it, and then put, the die cut in, and then you can really position it exactly where you need. But this worked out just fine. I am triple checking everything though, just to really make sure that I've got this position just right. And the first sentiment that I chose, it's super cute, super fun, but I just wasn't 100% confident that there would be room to see it because it was a 3-line sentiment. But that sentiment was a really great one. It reads, "That is too much candy," said no one ever. Which I thought would be really cute because what I'm going to do is make a shaker component where the shaker bits are going to be sprinkles. So it looks like the jack-o'-lantern is munching on munching on some candy. And so I ultimately changed it though because I just wasn't too sure if the 3-line sentiment was going to fit. I think it would have. It just would have been like a tight fit, and I would have had to stamp like very, very perfectly. So instead, I went with Hocus Pocus, I need candy to focus, which I think is also super cute. So I've got that stamped, and I'm gonna erase all of my pencil lines so that you don't see that. And now that I've got that stamped, I can start to assemble everything else because that's gonna be sort of the bottom-most layer. So we're back at our interactive slider frame here, which I'm turning into a shaker frame as well. So I'm gonna put some double-sided dry adhesive to the top portion of this foam. And the top of the frame already has some dry adhesive, so I don't really need to put any there. But the reason why I need some behind here is so that I can go ahead and get this attached to my card base. So I'm going to go ahead and position this. And what's nice is that it's exactly A2. So just kind of hold that frame by the edges of your card base and it should fit perfectly. Now I'm going to take, remember I said I cut that interactive slider frame 2 additional times, once out of white and once out of black. It doesn't really actually matter what color it is, but because ultimately all of it's going to get covered. But I wasn't too sure, so I wanted to make sure the top layer was black because I want the front of my card to be black. And so I doubled up on that. Now, what I'm going to do now, though, is actually complete my shaker. So I've got that bottom portion is welled off, and I just put some more double-sided dry adhesive, but only at that bottom rectangle. And I'm going to get my shaker bits in here now. Technically, I guess you didn't need to put the acetate on the bottom layer because it's clear, so that wasn't 100% necessary, but so if you want to save yourself a little bit of acetate, you could totally do that. And so then I burnish really well, cut off the excess, and there we have a shaker. So super easy. Like I said, you didn't really need that bottom layer of acetate, but it didn't hurt anything to have it there. And now we can put the rest of the frame on top. Now, one thing that you need to be mindful of, which as I was placing this adhesive, I wasn't paying too close attention until I was pulling it back. But at the bottom, remember the shaker frame, there's an opening at the bottom. So don't glue that bottom part shut. So I'm going to go ahead and put some glue on the frame, and you can go ahead and glue this down. Now remember, this is double layer cardstock. So this is still going to provide a guide for the bottom portion of the mouth of the jack-o'-lantern. It's basically serving as a guide for that piece to slide up and down, and it's also serving as a stopper. And because there's 2 layers, maybe you could do 3 layers if you wanted, it's going to be thicker than our single layer of that that mouthpiece, and so that's what's actually preventing, you know, the that component from sliding out completely. So that's why at the very bottom there, you don't want any adhesive. So make sure that you don't glue that shut, because this needs to still move up and down. And you can see that it still stops really nicely, and everything fits just perfectly. I've got my sentiment in there, I've got my shaker bits in there, and what I was trying to be careful of, and I actually did a pretty decent job, is I didn't want to overfill with shaker bits, because I actually want it to be possible not to see any shaker bits at all. And then it's only until you like shake it around a little bit that you will actually see it. Now again, here you want to be careful when you glue this down, because you don't want to glue it onto that pull tab. And I do have some adhesive that I noticed, and so don't worry. See how there's a little bit of glue there? I stuck some, this is just one portion of the liner, and I stuck that in and let it dry, so that that glue didn't dry to the piece below it, but it just dried to the basically my double-sided dry adhesive liner, which is fine. It just peels away from that. So if you accidentally ever get glue somewhere that you don't intend, don't panic and peel it up. Just slide something that you know it's not gonna stick to permanently, like one of those adhesive liners, and you should be totally okay. All right, so in the die set of the big mouth jack-o'-lantern, there's also these little moon shapes, which I think are kind of cute. You can use them as the whites of the eyes, and you can kind of position them wherever you want to position them in order to make the jack-o'-lantern look, in a certain direction. And I think that kind of gives the jack-o'-lantern some more personality. Now, I chose to put black as the background of my card base, and so I didn't really need it, but there is a die that you can use, and it's that sort of elongated, rounded rectangle die, and that will cut whatever color you want the eyes and nose to be. That single piece will fit behind there. So if you needed it, you could use it, especially if you're putting your jack-o'-lantern on a differently colored background. But since I used black and I wanted the eyes and the nose to be black, I didn't bother using that piece. Now this the little sort of curly viney things here, I just die cut it twice, and I cut one of the die cuts in half, just so that I can just have more more of these to just nestle and tuck in here and there. And I just think it makes it look a little bit more full and a little bit more interesting. So feel free to like snip it into these little vines and just kind of lay them wherever you want. Now, usually I leave a little bit more space where there isn't glue, but I did a really good job of gluing the pumpkin down. So it's kind of hard to tuck this behind. It was hard to find like a little gap. But I do find that it looks a little bit better if you're able to tuck it behind, the pumpkin, and that way it just feels more organic, like it is actually growing out of the pumpkin. So there is my finished card. It's actually pretty simple, easy card to put together, even though there's lots of interactive components to it. But here's the final look. So what's fun about this is if you tip it all the way down, then you can open, pull on the pull tab, slide this open, and it reveals the sentiment. And it's possible to get all of the sprinkles or the shaker bits all the way to the bottom if you work at it a little. Sometimes they get a little stuck, but it's also really fun to have this little extra shaker mechanism as well. I love how this card turned out. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you're looking for any of these products, I'll leave links to it in the description box. And if you shop my links, I want to say thank you in advance because those would be affiliate links. So I earn a small commission whenever you purchase using my affiliate links. Thanks again. And until next time, happy crafting and have a fabulous day. Bye.